Well, we've had an amazing couple of days. I've had so much fun building in n8n for you, and I think it's amazing how we were able to go above and beyond. You had a use case, n8n will help you solve that, and then the ability to actually harness the power of AI. So many companies out there, hey, we have AI, we want to know what we can do to use it to make us more productive. We've got an answer for that. And so again, this is going to be the recap. We'll review the use case. We'll take a look at those workflows that we built. We're creating a video for those people that were unable to attend, and then we're going to move forward with the contract. Once again, as you all know, I'm Donnie, and let's just jump right in. Just to review your use case, you've got a problem that every company wishes they had, although it really still is a problem. You've got one of the most successful products in history. This AI robot, it is on everyone's list. They either want to buy one, they have a friend that has one. You know me, I have the Titan Pite. Sits atop my desktop and helps me with all of my coding tasks. And then, as I mentioned to you, I have a neighbor had a fall not too long ago and has Titan Power to help with some of the chores around the house. But the big news, last month you announced the Titan Custom, the ability for customers, both on the commercial side and on the the personal side, can come in and build out a custom robot. The problem that you run into is tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of individuals that are very interested in this. Some of them are going to be more qualified than others. We know that the price tag associated with the custom build definitely has to be taken into consideration. And so, the idea would be that let's talk about your playbook. What you asked us to do at n8n was to help you with a playbook. And so have all these forms submitted, take a look at the form, and let's just go ahead and look and see what we've got here on the form. And then your playbook would be for the high qualified leads. We're going to put them into the hot track. That hot track will include, we're going to send a message and we're going to have a Slack channel. And we're going to have all our sales reps connected to that Slack channel that'll give information about this hot lead. We're also going to instantly add them to HubSpot and create a contact. And the reason why I brought that one up is that you don't want all of these leads landing in HubSpot. The high value ones make sense to add. The medium and low that we'll talk about in a second, we may not want to flood HubSpot. And so that high value lead, again, we're going to definitely have the hot leads Slack channel with all the great sales individuals with their playbook activated, add to HubSpot. We're also going to send an email message out to the sales team lead, and those are the three things there. The mid group, I would say the medium value of these form submissions, we're going to also just show that we can send them to a different Slack channel, have a different playbook against them. We're going to queue them up, and then the next time we meet and we get together, we're going to go through exploiting that use case even further. And then the low value ones, where you can see that they are interested. We can still score them. We can see that they definitely are going to want to be part of the pipeline, but we're not going to be able to get a custom robot for them in this first round. And we want to have a great customer experience. A lot of times you go to a site, you see something that's in beta, or you fill out a form and you get a message, and then you don't hear back. And then when you do, it's years later. And so we don't want that to happen. We're going to immediately respect the fact that, yes, we know you want a robot. We are going to put you on the list for our second round, and we'll take care of them. And so we've got 3 different playbooks. Let's walk through it. And so you also mentioned to me that in your stack, you've got segment CDP. So you've gone and you have the ability to come in and track everything. So let me take a look at console. I can see here you've got page calls, you've got everything set up to track, and you really want to rely on some of the tracking activity, especially when it relates to this form, to go through segment. And man, the solution we've built for you, it is amazing. So what's the biggest problem right now? Well, you've got tens, hundreds of thousands of forms. You've got a limited set of high value individuals on the tech and sales portions of your organization. You want to go through those forms and have them scored, but there's not enough time in the day or individuals to go through that process. that wasn't really part of the use case. The use case really was about the workflow, about once that's scored. But we discovered we can harness the power of AI. We can have an AI agent control the entire flow by having it make some evaluations against the forms. So let's walk through that. I'm going to go ahead and take a look in here in segment. We can see this is the dev site. Your production site has so many of these forms submitted. So we can see there's a form submitted event. And let me just go ahead and start pushing the buttons and walk back through everything we built yesterday. All right, and so I put in a bunch of information related to all the things I want with my robot. I want like some of the best amazing features. I want it like right away. And I'm, you know me, I put a lot of hats on. I put some really specific things I want in here, but I am ready and I can go ahead, and the idea would be to submit that form. Now, if I'm considered a high value customer, of course, one of the use cases was I wanted to be immediately added to HubSpot. So I went ahead and cleared out the demo version of HubSpot to show you. Right now we don't have any context in there. We're kind of starting from scratch on this. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we can do with n8n to make this all work. All right, so I'm going to come back out to my form, got everything submitted. I'll click the submit button. Oh, it looks like 1 to 2 business days. Ooh, I can hardly wait for my Titan. And let's go in and take a look at the workflow. All right, and so as you can see here, we've got our flow, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at executions. And you notice, I mean, one of the amazing things about n8n in the process is I click submit on that form, and while I was talking and telling you about all the things we're about to speak about, we already had that event flow through, and you notice it's like seconds later. Looks like we had a form completed event, and then from that event it was parsed, and then the magic, the bonus, the MVP of the workflow. We have an AI agent in the mix, and so we've got a form coming in. Let's take a look at the instructions. I'll go ahead and say, what is this agent going to do? It's going to take the response. You've given it very specific instructions on if you were able to look at each one of these forms, all the criteria that would go in to score. And instead of you having to do that, our AI is going to be able to do that. And so let's, everything related to the prompt is here. And I will go back to the canvas. And so what happens from that? We get a response. We get a really nice output. And notice that we see a relevance score here. We've got an overall high rating. The prioritization is now. AI is going to go ahead and put together that messaging. And then we're going to format that score and that tier. And then we're sending this to a switch. And so what is a switch? The switch would be, what do we do when we get all of that information? So let's go ahead and click right in. So we see that, hey, if we get a high value, because remember, the AI is going to give this information. So here's that form that was just submitted. We get a high value. We want to do a switch. We want to send it to an output, and that's labeled 0. If we get a medium, if AI came up with a medium, we would want to send that to output 1. And then value 2 is low. And then the fallback option is for, let's say the AI was unable to score. We also want a fallback option, and we can talk more about that in the future, but we have all of this laid out. Back to the canvas, and you can take a look at here. We went through the switch, and that was a high value customer. And then what was the next process? Well, we follow the flow. We scored. We see that 0 is a hot lead. We're going to send it to Slack, create a HubSpot update, and we're also going to send an email to to Donnie, who's happens to be the head of sales for your robotic company. And so let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening here. Wow, a minute ago there was nothing in HubSpot. Isn't this amazing? I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this contact that was created by the flow. I've got information for the contact entered in. And so the great thing is we can come in here, and this would be the start of the lead. I can also start building out deals from all of this. But one of the use cases was we wanted to have a marketing qualified lead, and we've met that criteria. All right, and so then let's go and see what else we were going to do. We want to send a message to Slack. So I'll come out to Slack, and I've got this thing called Custom Fire as the channel. Let's see what we have here. It looks like that this lead just came in a few minutes ago, and it was already on the back end. We did that matching to have we call it the wow code. If the customer's name and some information match that, we would actually want that to be brought to the attention of the sales team. And so then we would have all of our playbook against this sales channel really good. We've got the capabilities, we've got everything written out so that the salesperson knows exactly what to do, phone number, email address. And then that last piece, we wanted to also send an email message out to the head of sales, who just happens to be Donnie. So I'm going to go in, and I have access to his inbox, and we'll go ahead and see if we were also able to meet that. And so let me go ahead and pop up that account, and I will switch screens so that we can see that now. This looks like the inbox, and as I was bringing this over, looks like we've got this. Oh, and look at how great this message is. It's nicely formatted, hot lead in red, all the information, notes from the agent, and that agent happened to be our AI agent. Everything set up exactly as planned. All right, so let's come back out of the box and come in and really talk a little bit about the flow. Now, that's all great. We'll go through the process of sending in some things that would be low and medium. But what I did was I went ahead and queued those up so we could see them now. We'll go through the full flow. Your team is going to want to do this because the automation here is so amazing. And so I'll go in and take a look. And so low value customer, this other person, lots of Donnies. It looks like at 11:30, someone else named Donnie was scored low. It doesn't say that in this message, but AI understood that, and that use case was to send them a message. And basically what we're saying is, we'll be in touch soon to discuss your timeline, and we're letting them know it'll be part of the next round of build. So they're not sitting there and waiting every day, is this going to happen now? A really good way to handle those lower qualified leads. But the other piece too is we don't want to lose track of any of that. And so you can see here I've got this custom hold. And so if I take a look there, we can see that we could have a Slack channel that has all the information. It would be great if I had a robot that could play cards. Makes sense that is under the Titan hold. And then the standard, kind of the mid-tier. It looks like recently we've had a couple of mid-tier come in. You notice that there's a score of 56. They're ready, but they didn't really have a lot of substance. And so the agent was able to take all of those rules and make some decisions for you. All right, so I'll take a pause there. And let's go back one more time and look at our workflow and what is the final step. So, that last lead just came through, and the most important thing is you want to also keep track of the scoring. So I've shown you like an example of an HTML email message, but we want 360. We want to understand that as we're doing this, we want that information to be stored back for the customer. So let's go back into segment. And so we notice that we have that new form submitted event came in, and let's take a look at what happens after that. So all of the form submitted events happened, and then we're actually tracking back the lead score. And then if you take a look at the information here, it gives the AI reason of why we decided that AI decided this wasn't a high value, provides all the details. And so the nice thing is with this part of the workflow, you can use segment and also send to different destinations, but you can also take everything here and you can pull it back into another workflow. And so many ways to be able to accomplish your use case. And I think I showed you all the examples of the different playbooks, but let's just do a quick recap. And so we have, let's go and take a look at one of these that wasn't like the high value form submission. And so here we see that this one was a lower value. So what came in? A form came in with different information. It was parsed and normalized. And so this is a code element and a code block. Agent received the message, took a look at it, did some scoring, returned, said it was a low score, gave some quality notes, did all of the amazing work that we know AI can do. and then went through the process of saying, it looks like ended up that the relevance was low, but some of the other information turned this into what AI determined as a medium tier, meaning that we're going to put them in kind of that second step holding pattern, and then sent that information back to segment about the prioritization step. And notice, we gave a tier of medium, but there were some low elements to it. But again, the AI gives you the information related to everything that happened for scoring. And then from there, we went through that switch. And then in this use case, we just sent into the mid-tier Slack channel with the message. And so, again, here we are in your workspace. We have a combination of a full workflow. We have multiple playbooks. And at the center, instead of you having to hire someone to go through each and every form, you've got AI in the mix to help you with the process. You have been able to come in, once again, you've written the rules, you've been able to explain exactly what high value means to you, and then this portion of the workflow, this is an AI acting as your agent. And so it's been an amazing challenge. What I love about it is we were able to just take what you wanted was a workflow, take those 3 playbooks, we were able to send messaging out to the right destinations. But the value add is we were able to bring to the table by using n8n, you built out an agent, and that an agent can help orchestrate the entire process. So one more time, I'm going to go back out to the canvas, come out to the editor, and we've gone through some of the details in our previous sessions, but take a look at the flow here. We've got a form completed event that came in from a webhook, and we set that up so that we saw it landed in segment, and then segment webhook sent the information in. We'll go back out to the canvas from there. We took that information that's in JSON, we parsed it and got it ready for AI. We're using an OpenAI model. In this case, we're using 4.40. You could use 5. You could use, there's a lot of open source models you could use to do this. We touched a little bit about on maybe the idea of if this flow, if there were other things that needed to be considered, maybe it was a combination of 3 or 4 payloads that came in about what the person was doing on the website first before they completed the form. Maybe if we are able to track that individual and bring them here, we might want to use memory. And so we could see quite a few payloads come through, keep memory of all the activities that had happened and help make a better decision. And then our tools, we come out to, these code blocks are amazing because they allow you to take information and say, this is the format I see it. What do I want to be able to do with that? And so break it down so that the next piece of the workflow can use it. And then we've got the switch where 0 would be the high, 1, 2, and 3. And so you can see here the high tier, the hot lead, the HubSpot creation. We also work with, I think you have Salesforce in the mix too. We can show you that. And then an email to, Donnie, who is running your sales organization. And then the mid tier right now, we're just doing one thing. This could have been, you've seen the HTML message that we can generate. We could send this to many other places, but right now we're going to just concentrate, especially on the high value. We'll get the mid tier up and running. And then what I really appreciated is that email, the low tier. They're not going to sit around waiting and wondering. You're going to let them know, we've heard you. We have a product right for you. It'll probably be a little bit longer that you'll have to wait, but I love that. And then you bring it all together. This is always going to be this 360 where, people come to the website, they give you information, they become part of a flow, and then you report back. AI did something for us. We were able to score, and then we were able to then send that in. And once again, we're using the track endpoint for segment. All right, and so I will go out one more time and pay a special tribute to everything related to Titan. Looks like he's waving and telling me it's about time for me to finish up this call. I could not be more excited about what we're able to accomplish today. I'm going to continue that workshop we had talked about. We're going through with some of your teammates, going back into those, we call them modules or nodes, going back and taking a look at them. And as you noticed, a lot of that was out-of-the-box containers for Slack, for HubSpot, for email. We're able to really quickly customize that. And then the nice thing too is you think about all this great design you've done on your website. Well, you even look at the email message we were able to send out. The amazing thing is you have the ability to do quite a bit of formatting to get everything set up so that when you receive it, it is as high quality as everything else. And so, I'll take a look at the email that we're sending to you, to your head of sales, and you notice great HTML here. So there's not a single portion of this entire workflow that would not have the touch of what it is to be Titan AI Robotics. Thank you once again for your time. I can't wait to see you again. Talk to you soon. Bye.